Okay, this is Air Gunner's Edge. As you see, I already started removing, taking this all apart. This is the AIRMAX. Kind of got ahead of myself here, but without turning the camera on. So I'm just gonna do disassembly. I'm just learning how to take this apart now, so you'll have to bear with me. I wasn't planning on getting this far. It's pretty easy, the rail. The only thing I did do, which I shouldn't have taken out yet, was I do need to separate the top and the bottom before I go taking the trigger out. I mean, I can take the trigger out, but for this plastic piece that slides into the rear, and it's held in, as you see, with a nut. And there's a spring here. I didn't bend the spring, but it was pretty dang close. So when I reassemble, I will have all this together, and then I will put the tube and the action back together as one. So, the best way I see of taking this apart now, as far as all the linkage, I'm probably going to have to take the barrel out next. I'm just debating whether that is my next step or not. But I need these barrel bands off. The barrel I can slide out. That's not an issue. I'm just trying to see what my next step is here so I can get this tube apart. Just kind of debating here. This is why I kind of had the camera off. I do better not under pressure, and I don't want to make a 2-hour video. I know I have all the linkage here. Alright, what I'm going to do is remove the linkage. That way it's out of the way. I know the barrel will come off without an issue. I would just rather just be able to put a whole assembly on, instead of taking every single nut and bolt apart. But it looks like this is going to have to come off for the tube. I emptied the air already, so there's no air in this, obviously no pellet. I got the top rail here, just want to keep that separate. You know what, since this is the rear assembly, I'm just going to keep different parts in different containers also. So I don't have 20 different screws and wondering where they all go. So I got an assortment of containers, which makes it easier in the long run. This actually goes back in here. There we go. So, debating. I'm just going to have to take all this off. Before I do this, I already see I'm going to have to remove this bottom screw. So if I can just get the linkage to come off in 2 pieces, I'll put that screw in there for now. And okay, I figured this held the tube on, or the part of the internals, probably for the valving. Okay, I may have actually been wrong. Yep, until, okay. So, remember how I was saying it should come up right through? Well, it does. But, here. You can see it is tapered and it does go through. So that screw, this is some of the problem until you start taking it apart, you're guessing. There we go. That does go over, except it's not up high enough. See, oh. And that screw does clamp down on the linkage. And you can see, look how stiff this linkage is. So I might just open this hole up a little bit and just have a smoother linkage here, because it's just a little too tight. I like the tolerances, or I may leave it. It is plastic. It would probably wear, but I think I'm just gonna buff it up. Yeah, see, even actually me doing this is actually starting to smooth it out. But these screws are really in there pretty good, so. Okay. And I probably will have to shut this video off because it sounds like the woman and kids are home, which is gonna mess me all up now. But it happens. But I'll continue for right this second until someone calls out my name. As usual, working on any gun, make sure you have good, new, not worn tools so you do not strip any screws. And I should have a blanket here just to catch any falling, anything falling screws or anything like that. Because I got a whole bunch of small screws in here. And then I'm going to be digging for them. Alright, let's see if I can sneak it past the safety. If not, then I just may have to take this off with it. Okay, what we're going to do, flip her over. Like I said before, there's just a lot of parts to this. It's not a big deal or anything, just a lot of parts, and you got to remember where they all go. Even if you took a little paint pen or something and just marked everything, something that could wipe off with ease later, but not accidentally wipe off. Well, let's see what happens when I remove all this. Like I said, there's no videos on disassembly of this rifle. It's not like the AT-44 where you can just literally find anything you want. So, I guess I'll be the guinea pig. And if I screw up, then you guys learn from my mistake here. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Dang it. Just going gentle, trying not to scratch the barrel or tube. You can always put tape down over the tube if you're trying to slide something out. So, even if I pop that center trigger, it still would not come out. If I could just get the safety out of the way, that would be great. But I would honestly just rather keep this all in one shot, but that's not always how it works out. Yeah. Unfortunately, once I start taking everything else off, then I'm going to see a better way, as usual. My hammer is right there. The reason I am doing this, I tried adjusting the hammer, and I could not. Even though there's a hole here, I did see one video on how to adjust the hammer. It was in, I believe, Turkish, if I am saying that correctly. And I watched him do it. I could not do it on this. So instead of trying to strip out the screw while me attempting to do this, I don't know, they may have even Loctite on it, but at least if it's out of the gun, I know there's not a set screw holding that in. Probably not, but until I know for sure, I'm not going to go and screw up my gun. So if there's a little set screw, or if there's just Loctite, I'll warm it up. Warming it up usually always gives on the Loctite. Once it warms up, you'll be able to unscrew it. And then I'll clean it up, and then I'll redo it when I do it, either using some pipe dope tape or whatnot, just so it doesn't back off. Like the AT-44, sometimes if you overdo it and you're shooting, and I've seen many complaints on many sites that it will back out, and then all of a sudden you're losing pressure. So, just more information that I picked up throughout my journey through GTA and many other sites. And as I was just saying before, you don't want parts falling all over, which they just did. So now I gotta figure out what parts those were. Awesome video already, yeah. And the worst part is, I know better. I've done this enough times. I believe that was just for the linkage here. We're just going to take this right out of the way. We're going to gently move this out of the way. And now we're doing what I should have done before. Live and learn, people. Live and learn. Or learn by watching. Okay, so with that out of the way, you know what I could do? If I can get this tube off, then that whole assembly would be removed at once. So we're going to take these set screws out, if possible, okay, and see if we can't get this tube out of the way. And then from there, I'm not going to continue disassembly. I'm going to do what I need to do to the tube to install the regulator. Now, let's see. Oh, look at that. Okay. This is just like the AT44. It's similar to the AT44. Now, I'm very tempted to tap these holes. And, oh, I don't know if you can see, but I already did mark the tube for my port going up. But right now, I'm just going to do the regulator, but what I did was tap the 5 holes, and then I enlarged and chamfered the port hole that goes directly into the port, I should say. Okay, so this is your first look at the system here. And so it is very similar to the AT44. Those two set screws, you can see the marks right there and right there. They hold the tube in. Okay, now I'll have to hold and disassemble this to install the regulator. And there's my white mark I put on before I took any of this off, so I know what position it's in. Okay, with that being said, these are the two Huma regulators. This one here is for the 25 cal. This one here is for the 22. And you see the plenums are much different sizes. I'm going to use the 25 on the 22. This is a whole nother discussion. Honestly, I could spend the next hour on this one. But if your plenum is too small and you start going above the needs of air, say if I want to start doing 22 grains with over 900 FPS, I will most likely run out of air and I will not be able to reach my FPE or FPS goal. But this one will have more than plenty. This is the 25. This will suffice in having enough air. Now if I was to put this in the 177, I would be wasting so much air. Like I said, there's an hour worth of talking here. So, but I'm putting the 25 in this. Just as an example, if I had a certain setting with a certain pellet, this would actually have to be set like say 160, and this one could be set at 140 because of the volume of air. Anyways, I'm going with the 25 cal. So, just to let you know. And this is just going to be an experiment, and if I don't, but I want to try a little more because I have such a good power source, such as air supply, then I will have a good shot count, but on a higher setting. So, anyways, like I said, that you will have to look up because there is much detail in math and how much air you plan on using. You should have, that I read, 1 cc. Yeah, alright. We're not even going to get into that right now. So, what I would like to do is even take this apart, take the tube apart, measure it, and see if it is the same as my AT44. Because I don't even know if this is going to fit yet, to be totally honest. Now this is my AT44 tube. So This is actually not going to mean anything because the thickness of the wall could be different, but for knowledge purposes, okay. This is 1 inch 220 thousandths OD. And I am in luck. It's maybe 2 thousandths smaller. So the ODs are pretty much the same on this as the AT44. So AirMax and AT44 have the same OD for the tube. ID, I don't know yet. I'll be off screen here for a second. I need to find the correct wrench to fit on here. Well, this isn't looking promising. Let's see. 3/4 is just a bit too small. Okay, I apologize for that. It looks like 20mm would work, but I can't find mine. Found 21, found 19. Could not find 21mm. So, when in doubt, grab a damn adjustable. How this comes off is anyone's guess at the moment. I mean, as far as how easy it will come off. Okay, well, it comes off the drop lock very easy. We're just going to make sure it is on there tight. I didn't even have this kind of issue with my AT44. I was hoping to actually grab the drop block with a larger adjustable, but well, I may cut the video off here because I may have to put this in a V rubber laced vise to get this off. But I really would like to take this off here. This is really, I don't want to push it through the other end. That's not what I want. I want to be able to take it off here. Okay, I just pushed down on there just to see if there was any air left. I wanted to make sure there was no air left in here before I tried. Before I really tried. So, that's not good. Well, it's not a big deal, but I was actually hoping this was going to come out a lot easier. Okay, well, for we're just going to disassemble. Yeah, helps if I have it in focus, huh? Or in the camera. My apologies. Like I said, this is usually why for first disassembly, I like to do this off camera so I don't waste this kind of time. Okay, the internals look exactly, the other end of the valve looks exactly like my, not my AT44, but it actually looks like my bullpup and flash. It has a plastic ring, 7 holes. Yeah, I just can't, I don't think you're going to be able to see it. But it looks more like my flash. If you ever seen my videos of the flash or flash pup, it's a round plastic piece with holes. And you use the Allen wrenches. Let me get this off camera for a second. It actually looks like there's not, well, looks like there's a little stuff in there, so I'm going to clean this out really good anyways. But what I can do, of course, this is going to be more on the threads, but okay, that's 1 inch, 20, just want to make sure, 1 inch 23 thousandths. 1 inch 23 thousandths. Oh, 1 inch, maybe 21 thousandths. Sorry, dang it. I hate not being in focus. Okay, so this should work fine. It's just about there. So maybe 2 or 3 thousandths difference, and it could just be different because, like I said, the threads, I wish these were longer because they could go past the threads and actually get on the inside of the tube. So I should have no issue using the Humma regulator in the AirMax. So the tubes are just about the same size. I would still like to get this off. But honestly, I could just slide it right through here. I really have no need, unless I was going to, in this, try to show you here. Because actually I put a stiffer spring in my AT44. But this spring is actually very tight. This is like how my AT44 was after I did that. The purpose is to close it up faster so you don't waste air, and especially with the hammer. Totally, I could spend another hour talking about this. Okay, so right here is the bottom, right here is the top. So that is the hole. That is the hole I would enlarge in. Oh, where is... There we go. AT44 on the right. As you can see, you can't see because it's not in focus. I put set screws all in there. I actually didn't have time to put the JB weld, but oh, I forgot. I was experimenting, so I took, just trying to see about air out, but you can see how much more I enlarged in that one. Because I was reading, they were testing on having one big hole or just the top open, and I was experimenting, and then I got another gun and I kind of stopped experimenting. But this is the AT44 and this is the AirMax. But this thing is shooting so good right now. If you go on GTA about doing this mod, you will. They actually have charts and showing the results, and they are pretty damn good. So, no further ado, I'm gonna do this. Now, I take that back. I will actually have to get this off. And one reason is, this surface here on the AT44, the machining was not good. So I took this all apart and I had to, and this was leaking, and this is why it was leaking, is because now that you have the other O-ring off, this O-ring sits against here and this is your seal. Once you take the O-ring off of here, this is now your seal. Well, the machining was not good enough and air was getting by. So I had to take this off, put it on sandpaper, and I just got it until it was completely flat. So I will take this off the tube on the AirMax, make sure this is good, because I don't want to push this all the way down the tube and find out on the other tube it's not good enough and have it leak and then have to rip this whole gun apart. This isn't as easy as the AT44. Okay, well, here's some knowledge for you guys. It is Sunday and I do have some food cooking, so I'm gonna have to go and check that, but I just wanted to share this bit with you. I'm glad I made some progress. I will take the hammer spring out. I will disassemble, take these two apart. There's a screw here, and this will come apart. And actually, I don't know if this will slide yet, but most likely not. No, because this is still attached here. If you can see how the probe moves with this, it's just like the AT44, so these two have to be separated. And I'm going to find out what is going on with this hammer spring and why I cannot adjust it. Because I couldn't even do any more testing in stock form if I cannot adjust the hammer. Like I said, this thing was making, it was 1,030 with 18 grain pellets. That's a lot of friggin' power in air. And at 100 yards, I was not grouping well because the pellets were just unstable. I'm looking for about 900 to 880 for 18 grains. So yeah, I couldn't achieve that until I get hammer adjustment proper on this. So okay, this is Air Gunner's Edge, and I wish you all a great St. Paddy's Day. Wish you good shooting, and until the next video, I will have more information for you on this whole big mess I have right here. But no problem, it'll get all back together. And unfortunately, I couldn't even do preliminary testing because I could not adjust that hammer. So, yeah, I got this refurbished and whatnot, and as I've read, and I do see comments on Facebook on all their gun sites, well, why spend that money when you can just, why buy something cheap when you can just spend $1,000, $1,500, get this gun, get that gun, and just shoot. This is something I like to do, I would like to know how these guns work. Because even if you buy a high-end gun, they break. Something happens. You need to know how to fix them. Unless you got tons of money and you can ship them out, and a month or two later, you get it back. That's great if you got the money and time to wait. I don't. I like to educate myself. So, any further ado, I wish you guys a great Sunday, and until the next video.